Shabbat Shalom, welcome. We made it to Friday night. It's always nice to know you've made it a whole week, and now it's going to be the weekend, and we can relax. And well, I'm working, and the cantor's working, and the band is volunteering. But everyone else, oh, you're right, we're working. We're all working. But you have made it, and that's a really good feeling. It is wonderful to spend Shabbat with you, whether you are the few, the proud, who are in person here, or whether you are the many Beth Yeshurun and friends of Beth Yeshurun who join us online. It is wonderful to be with you. Take a breath, enjoy these moments, and let Shabbat seep in. And with that, we have the return of the cantor and a nigun.
Die, 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 die.
Whether you are lighting your Shabbat candles at home and you're going to stand up to get ready to light those, or whether you're going to join us for our lighting here, please rise, turn to page 4 for the lighting of the Shabbat candles, which need to be lit first. It's not Shabbat. It's not Shabbat yet.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav V'tzivanu lehadlik ner V'tzivanu lehadlik ner V'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat. Amen.
You may be seated as we turn to page 5 to welcome in those Shabbat angels with Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Balachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. השמיים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Let us go and sing to Adonai. Let us trumpet praise to our protector. Lechu neranana, page 11.
לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. נריע, נריע לצור אישנו, לקדמה פניו בתודה. נריע, נריע לצור אישנו, בזמירות נריע לו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני.
Even the trees of the forest shall sing praise as Adonai comes. Yismechu Hashemayim, page 14.
ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. Yiramayam, 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 Umlo, Yiramayam, 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 Umlo. Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yiramayam, 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 Umlo. Yiramayam, 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 Umlo.
Come, let us greet Shabbat as a bride on her wedding day, beautiful, who we wait so expectantly for to come down the aisle the same way we wait for Shabbat all week. Page 23, Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabla. שמור וזכול בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה, ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה. תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, rise and face the door. פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום מתנת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי כלה, בואי, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
And you may be seated. We have a psalm that literally just celebrates how wonderful it is to feel and express gratitude, specifically gratitude to God. Tov lehodot, page 27.
טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר, ולזמר, ולזמר לשבחה עליון. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר, ולזמר, ולזמר לשבחה עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר, ולזמר, ולזמר לשבחה עליון. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר, ולזמר, ולזמר לשבחה עליון, ולזמר לשמחה עליון. טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני.
We take a moment even when we are singing and we are rejoicing and we're glad that it's finally Friday and we're glad we get to sing all of these beautiful psalms. We take a moment to remember those among us who have pain in their hearts, who are missing someone who they love, who is no longer here with them in person, in body. And to you we say, Hamakom Yinechem et betoch sha'ar avlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you along with all the mourners in Zion and Jerusalem. If you are currently in mourning or if you are observing a yahrzeit, I invite you to rise to turn to page 30 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirotei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam almei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu, le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. I invite everyone now to rise to turn to page 39 for the Baruch.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
And you may be seated. With timeless love, God has loved the people of Israel. Ahavat Olam, page 40.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Beit Yisrael, Amecha Avta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta, Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, B'shorbeinu, B'shorbeinu, V'kumeinu, Nasiach, Nasiach, Nasiach b'chukecha, Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Beit Yisrael, Amecha Avta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו ובהם נגי יומם ולילה. Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinantam levanecha ve'dibarta bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue with the paragraphs on page 42 silently.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Who is like you, Adonai, among the mighty? Who is like you, adorned in holiness, revered in praise, working wonders? Micha Mocha, page 44.
Ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar v'kodesh nora, nora, nora tehilot, osei melech. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar v'kodesh nora, nora, nora tehilot, osei melech. Malchutcha ובניך בוקע ים לפני משה זה לי ענו ואמרו מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה זה לי ענו
Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Hashkivenu, page 45.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Yidenu Malkeinu
Shabbat is a gift that God gives to all the creatures of the earth, animals and people, servants and great lords and ladies in their houses, and everyone in between. Vishamru, page 46.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Please rise for the Chatzi Kaddish, middle of page 46.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה, אמן. בעלמא יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי נכון וביום נכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה לעילם מכל מצוותה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה, באמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן. Amen.
We continue with the silent Amidah for Friday night. You can find that on page 47 in your Siddur.
to page 51. Join in Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך המברך את עמו ישראל Everybody at home, surround yourselves with your family and put your arms around each other. And as we all join together in Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uya Oseh Shalom aleinu, Shalom aleinu. כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום, עושה שלום במרומיו. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, שלום עלינו, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
there's someone that you know in your family, in your close circle of friends, or just someone you know in the world who's in need of healing, whether that's healing in their body, their mind, their soul, their spirit, now is the time to hold them in your heart as we do the Mishaberach. You can find that on the inside back cover of your Siddur.
Mishaberach avotenu v'kol habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing for us and all those we love. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
God, who's in heaven but also here on earth, please be with those we love who are in need of healing, but also, God, be with their doctors and the nurses and their caregivers. Give them wisdom and guidance. And God, be with us, those of us who care about somebody who needs healing right now, because when we feel stronger, the ones we love feel stronger too. And let us all say, Amen. You may be seated as we turn to page 54 for the Kaddish Shalem.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יבדח חילותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובמכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, עגלה בזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך, וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי נקודשם בריחו, לעילה מכל בחדה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. תתקבל אצלותון ואותון לכל ישראל, כולם אבוני בשמיא, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיא, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו
I've always wanted to give a sermon about the end of the service. Now, the very short version of this sermon is, there is no end to the service. There's always another one coming. No matter the rabbi hits a home run in his sermon, no matter that the cantor is out of this world, there will always be another service. Of course, you all are used to having that in the sanctuary service at Beth Yeshurun, right? It's great to have you back, Cantor. But, you know, it's not as if you have one service that changes your life and you never need to come to another one. We do have a few other things to do, and so we take a break from a service at a certain point. When we prepare to take that break, I think most worship services try to do two things. One is to say something about what we believe, something to affirm the faith that we've expressed. And the other is to bring some closure to the process and to that special state of mind which we hopefully inhabit during prayer. So I want to say something about what is the closing prayer for most services, and that is Aleinu. And Aleinu has a particularly important message, especially as we prepare to leave the service. Aleinu makes three important declarations. Message number one is, we Jews have a special task. We are different. Lo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, God didn't make us like all the other nations. Our part in history is unique, and that's the way God wants it. We were chosen to teach a path to one God. As Rabbi David Wolpe wrote, to be chosen is not to be better than others, it is to be called to be better than one currently is. To be chosen is to have a mission to improve the world and to feel that when we slight that task or abandon it, we are reneging on our deep purpose. Aleinu l'shabeach literally means we are duty-bound to praise. But some suggest we should think of it as saying, we praise God for the chance to live a life that matters, a life that goes with that unique destiny of being Jewish. Judaism is to some degree a tribal religion. We are members of an extended family dating back to Abraham and Sarah. And even those Jews who don't think of themselves as religious are still members of the tribe. But we are also part of a universal faith with a larger message to share with the world. The tribal part kept many Jews with us, but it's not doing so well with younger Jews. They need a better reason to feel a connection to Israel, to Jewish community, Jewish institutions. We praise God for a way to live a life that matters. That's what Jewish teachings and Jewish destiny are all about. So that is message number one. We have a special task. I'm very skeptical about Jews who claim only to be concerned about people in general. I think most of them are tribal also. They're just not that concerned about our tribe. Very few people don't belong to any group. James Joyce wrote many books with many angles, but he said, I always write about Dublin because through Dublin I can get to the world. And similarly, Elie Wiesel said, the more of a Jew I am, the more of a universalist I am. In Aleinu, we go through the particular to the universal. In effect, we are saying that Jews have something to teach the world and that we do not have a monopoly on faith in God. If my neighbor is created in the image of God and I faithfully believe that I am called to serve God, then to disrespect my neighbor is to disrespect God. But only when we are true to ourselves can we begin to be true to the world at large. And that really is message number two from the Aleinu, that this God is creator of everything and everyone. Ki Hashem hu ha'Elohim b'shamayim mima'al v'al ha'aretz mitachat ein od. The Lord is God in heaven and on earth. There is no other. This builds on the words of Shema Yisrael, where we accept the responsibility to fulfill the mitzvot. Aleinu says there is one true God in the world. But it never suggests that Judaism is the only true religion. One of the most common words in the second part of the Aleinu is the word kol, all. Kol b'nei vasar, all flesh and blood will call on God. Kol yoshvei tevel, all those who dwell on earth will recognize and know. And there are many more. The idea is that God and the message we carry about God has relevance for everyone. Aleinu is an ancient prayer, and it was recited on Rosh Hashanah over 1,500 years ago. But it was brought into the end of each service after the Crusades. In 1171, the Aleinu was chanted by the Jews in central France as they were murdered by their neighbors. They not only affirmed their belief in God, they said, we are different. God made our destiny different, and sometimes more difficult. And this reminded us that Jews actually died in order to be faithful to certain principles. That religion isn't just expressed in the sanctuary, it's lived out in every choice we make. So when Jews sang this at the end of every service, very often they were saying, "We will not betray our religion no matter what. And we won't give up our role as Jews, no matter what you do to us, no matter what incentives you offer." When we say Aleinu during the Musaf service on Rosh Hashanah, it introduces the section on Malchuyot, the part that focuses on God as king. I apologize for the gender reference. I don't like the word sovereign. It sounds like an adjective. So just remember that just because God is king doesn't mean that God has a physical body. But all those references to God as a king are our way of saying that the world is like Hebrew National. We answer to a higher authority. We accept that there are universal standards of morality that everyone should accept. And that's the hope that one day, V'haya Hashem lamelech al kol haaretz, that God will be acknowledged as king over all the earth, and on that day, God will be one, ushmo echad, and God's name will be one. Jews, of course, are not alone in our commitment to justice for all people. But for us, it is not just a nice thing to do. It is a mitzvah, a commandment, just as significant as keeping kosher or observing Shabbat or honoring one's parents. Now, unfortunately, those two lessons in the Aleinu have become somewhat segregated from each other in today's world. For some people, the essence of Judaism is survival. You're engaged in a constant battle against anti-Semitism, protecting Israel against its enemies, and they don't think very much about the larger world. And then for others, there's this compelling need, l'taken olam, to repair the world. But they often fail to see the connection between tikkun olam and Jewish survival. And as praiseworthy as both of those efforts are, they fail and fall short if they do not intersect with the other. Our most universal values grow out of our unique historical experience, the exodus from Egypt, centuries of powerlessness. And that brings us to lesson number 3. There is something yet to come. Al ken nekaveh, therefore, we hope in you, God. We hope for your kingdom, for the day when God will be one and his name one. And very importantly, we're here to help bring that about. L'taken olam b'malchut Shaddai, to repair the world under God's kingship. If you have to make sacrifices to be Jewish, you should remember that we're hoping for a very important result, which will make generations of sacrifices meaningful. And we can't give up on that hope, the hope that we will bring about the world God needs us to create. And it's a good thought for the conclusion of a service. As the 14th century Rabbi Jacob ben Asher wrote, before leaving the synagogue, we chant Aleinu, to plant in our hearts the uniqueness of God's sovereignty and to deepen and strengthen the faith that he will sweep away idolatry so that false gods will be completely destroyed. When we come to the conclusion of the service, the Aleinu reminds us that there is something to look forward to. Yes, in normal times, everyone looks forward to Kiddush afterwards, or Shabbat dinner. Okay? We know that's coming. We're looking beyond that, too. We make a statement about the present and also about the future. We say, this is what God is, This is the way God created us, and we have a task within this world. And we affirm there is a goal and a way to get there. And it's both intellectually and spiritually appropriate that we would offer such a prayer as we conclude. So remember, when we say Aleinu, to give it as much kavanah, thoughtful intent, as you give other prayers, when we recite them today or any other day, so that when we leave with an awareness that we're not just going to Kiddush. Aleinu helps us to go out wiser, more faithful, more prepared for the continued work of Jewish life as God's people. Shabbat Shalom.
On July 11th, 2020, my very dear and close friend, Beth Yeshurun organist for the past 21 years, Brian Granquist, sadly passed away as a result of the COVID-19 coronavirus. This evening, as we welcome back members of the Friday night band, it is even more apparent how much Brian meant to all of us here on the Bema, and how much he will be missed. I therefore would like to offer this tribute to Brian and share loving and fond memories that some of his closest friends and colleagues have kindly sent me. Brian was born January 28, 1950 in Wayne, Nebraska. His family moved to Columbus, where Brian spent his school years and graduated in 1968 from Columbus High School. In 1972, from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln with a degree in music education with an emphasis in organ music. Brian's mother, Jean, was a talented musician and music teacher, and Brian was surrounded by musical instruments in the home. He began music lessons at a young age, initially on the piano, but soon gravitated to the electric organ. So proficient was he that even while a youngster, local music stores hired Brian to demonstrate his talent on the electric home organs, both in stores and at regional county fairs, to boost their sales to families. After spending a few years in Nashville, Tennessee, honing his skills, Brian discovered that vast opportunities for his musical talents were in the Houston area, playing in bands, community events, and area churches. A highlight of his longtime ministry at Sugarland Methodist was the completion of the new sanctuary in 1999, which became the home of a spectacular 4-manual pipe and digital combination organ. Early in his career in Houston, Brian became a member of the Buddy Brock Orchestra, playing big band music. With Brian on keyboards, Buddy Brock played the first dance for George H.W. and Barbara Bush at his inaugural ball in Washington, D.C. in 1989. Brian's time in the Houston area was a medley of his musical pursuits, duets on the flute and piano, concerts of dueling pianos, and playing for weddings, funerals, parties, and celebrations. Among his favorites were the years where he was a stadium organist for the Houston Astros, including a Turn Back the Clock night, during which he played a vintage Hammond organ long after the stadium had switched to pre-recorded music for regular games. Interwoven with his music, Brian loved his time spent with friends. He enjoyed traveling with the choirs he accompanied, taking many cruises with dear friends, visiting museums and galleries, and attending the theater, ballet, symphony, and the occasional opera. Here's another tribute from his longtime band buddy and friend, Fred Hargis. Brian first started playing with the Buddy Brock Orchestra in 1985 and played with them for 12 years. Occasionally he would play the accordion, strolling with the violinists. Here is a quote from Brian, copied from our many messages on Facebook. "The Brock band made a much, much better musician out of me. That seems to happen on gigs sometimes. You grow into the gig, and with luck, you flourish beyond." Brian had roots in Norway and Sweden. I remember him always being extremely well dressed. He loved high-quality jewelry and wore an expensive ring on every finger. In cold weather, he would wear beautiful, genuine fur coats. I never heard Brian complain about anything. He was kind, demure, forgiving, helpful, funny, engaging, intelligent, well-educated, and exceptional in every way. I believe he was loved, appreciated, and respected by every musician with whom he ever performed. And now I'm honored to read this brief tribute from someone who worked with him for many, many years, Cantor David Propus. As a musician, the extra talented, extra bright lights that shine into every space they enter really stick with you. And Brian was certainly one of the brightest musical lights I have encountered in my career. I remember bringing Brian to Beth Yeshurun, where he shadowed the incomparable Lou Zayler for about a year before taking over as lead accompanist. Over the course of our nearly 15-year working relationship and friendship, Brian grew enormously as a musician and maven in Jewish music, and taught me so much along the way. He helped launch two of our Friday night service franchises, Shabbat Renewal and Friday Night Alive, which brought so much life and joy to the congregational community. He was not just an accompanist, but a collaborator and a true friend. He made my job so much easier by being a consummate professional. He was always so thorough and thoughtful in his preparation, whether it was for a prepubescent B'nai Mitzvah student or a famous artist in residence. When I think of Brian, one phrase immediately comes to mind. Whenever I would suggest something a bit out of the box, he would raise his eyebrow, look at me over his music, and say, "That wouldn't fly in my church." And I'll never forget his signature red flare pen, which was never far from reach. Brian's talent was matched only by his sense of humor and gracious personality. He was an absolute joy to be around, spreading light and the beauty of music wherever he went. I will miss him tremendously, and the world is a bit dimmer with his absence. And finally, my own personal postscript. I was fortunate to work with Brian for almost 8 years. Brian was incredibly talented, quick-witted, outrageously funny, and fiercely loyal. He would tell me that after finishing up on Friday nights, accompanying me at services, he would signal that he was on his way to meet friends for dinner by texting, "Elvis has left the building." As if ready for the next cruise, Brian is dressed for his send-off in his favorite paisley shirt of blue, red, teal, and gray. Elvis has sadly left the building for the last time. Brian, you will be sorely missed. Rest in peace, dear friend. And now the band and I would like to offer a musical tribute to Brian, a song that he cherished dearly. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, a bright blessed day, the sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than they'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you, Cantor. May Brian Granquist's memory inspire us all to listen to music a little longer, dress a little snappier, and love each other a little bit more. And let us all say, Amen. We rise as the ark is opened, as we turn to page 56 for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ועושה הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשיבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We are seated as the ark is closed. This week we send our condolences specifically to the families of Fred Jandorf, Marilyn Mendeloff, Maila Lerner, Avinoam Regev, Libby Herzog, Alan Howard Meadow, and Jacob Kapalkin. If you are currently in mourning or if you are observing a yahrzeit, I invite you to rise, turn to page 58 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'b'yomechon u'b'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'b'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei dekudesha, b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, ta'amiram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. You may be seated. May all of our loved ones' memories be for a blessing. We have some anniversaries to celebrate, which is always nice. Celebrating 13 years is Mandy and Rana Selber. Mandy and Rana, so I have to get this, there's a lot of math, a lot of numbers in this one. You have 7 grandchildren, 3 and under. 3 of your grandbabies were born this past year, 2 during the pandemic. So you have been very busy, in a sense. And we wish you so much naches, so much joy in all of those grandbabies. How exciting. Mazal tov to Mandy and Rona for 13 years. Celebrating 39 years, Lisa and Alan Lipman. Lisa and Alan also been very busy. Both of your daughters had baby boys this past year. How very exciting. It's a lot of Zoom brisses to be going to. So much mazal tov wish to Lisa and Alan Lipman for 39 years. And with 48 years, Janice and Larry Odensky. Now, this past year has been both amazing and challenging. I can definitely agree with that. But the best thing in your life continues to be your precious granddaughter, Samantha. She is a source of naches every day. You are thankful that your family remains safe and healthy. And that's the happiest thing of all. And you pray that you continue as you begin your 49th year of marriage, happy and healthy. I can wish you no better blessing than that of happiness and health. Mazal tov and much more happiness and health to Janice and Larry Odensky. And over all of our couples who are celebrating anniversaries, may you continue to have all the love you have today, but multiplied 10 times next year and the year after and after. May you stay safe and happy and healthy, and your families as well. And let us all say for you, Amen. And Mazal tov. We have a few announcements. Everyone always says there's a few announcements. There really are actually a few announcements. And I think they're very interesting announcements, but I'm biased. I know we live in a crazy new virtual world. We do. And I'm a millennial, so for me to think it's crazy is certainly telling. And so much of our communication is by email. We really need to make sure that we are connecting with you, so keep us up to date on your email so we can keep you up to date on our programs. If you need to update your information, or if you're having any trouble getting into our programs, we have virtual office hours on Zoom every Tuesday from 11 to 2. So pop into our Zoom rooms, 11 to 2, and we will help you access your account, update your account with your email. That's really important. Help us help you be a part of our virtual community. Continue to watch us virtually, or if you would like to come, you can certainly register online. And we have a lot of really interesting stuff coming up. August 5th, everyone loved when we did the videos with Chef Kevin, when he showed how to cook different things for Pesach. And we thought, well, let's combine people loving to learn from Chef Kevin and how great he is with those meal kit things you see advertised, like, we'll send you all the parts and you make it. Well, we've combined them into a great thing where you can take a class from Chef Kevin on Zoom. And we will provide you with a meal kit with all the kosher ingredients you need to prepare 2 portions of a meal. This month's meal is chicken marsala, amazing. I've never made it myself. We will give you not just all the ingredients for that, but also for 2 house salads and dessert. Now, it's a very small class, just so it's manageable for our chef. So register soon if you'd like to be a part of Cooking with Chef Kevin and the meal kit. You can go online to register and find out more. Lunch with the Rabbi is back with Rabbi Strauss, welcoming Rabbi Siegel. He is the rabbi who will be at our Lunch with the Rabbi, Thursdays at noon. Doesn't even matter what he's going to teach. You know, if you know Rabbi Siegel, that whatever he teaches is going to be very interesting and very entertaining. So definitely pop into Zoom Thursday at noon for Lunch with the Rabbi as Rabbi Strauss welcomes Rabbi Siegel. I cannot wait. Thursday evening, on Zoom, we have a really interesting interfaith program called Finding God in the Pandemic. Join Rabbi Morgan as he welcomes leaders from Christian and Muslim faiths to explore our similar but also differing approaches to finding God. Where is God? Everyone always asks, where is God in this difficult time? Well, you're going to hear from Jewish, of course, but also Christian and Muslim thought leaders to see what is everyone saying right now and how are they wrestling with this, because everyone is wrestling with this right now, I guarantee you. Today, at 5 o'clock, if you tuned in, Joe Buchanan was our fifth Friday, our surprise guest for our family programming. But, I mean, family, and for Joe, it's really just the whole family is really welcome for him. If you like Jewish music and you like country music, or you like Jewish country music, he is your guy. Fifth Friday. That was today at 5. Coming up, we've got the first week of August, which means Jamel Birnbaum is back, and she's amazing. She doesn't play guitar. Oh, she might play guitar like Joe. Joe plays guitar. Jamel plays the ukulele, so that's cool. I can't play anything, so I'm always very impressed. Jamel and her ukulele and all of her great Shabbat tunes and fun. There will be 5 p.m., all that family fun this upcoming Friday, and she's back for our family taught Shabbat. And Saturday, August 8th, the Jewish Mindfulness Center of Texas, which is housed right here at Beth Yeshurun, virtually, is bringing Chazan Lizzie Shamash, and she will be leading a kind of special Shabbat yoga at 5 p.m. That's Saturday, August 8th. More information, go onto our website, and super interesting opportunity. And I mean, you know, the one bright side of this whole thing is that we get to bring in so many interesting people from all over the world, heck. And that's Chazan Lizzie Shamash, brought to us by the Jewish Mindfulness Center of Texas, Saturday, August 8th, for Shabbat yoga. And the last thing I want to say is a huge thank you to everybody for making this Friday evening possible. A Yasher Koach to Rabbi Horowitz for adding so many deep historical and theological layers to a prayer that many of us are familiar with, but maybe don't think all that much about. A Yasher Koach to the cantor for beautiful songs and a really, really moving tribute. A thank you to the Shabbat Renewal Band. It's good to get the band back together. And thank you to all of you who are either tuning in online or are here physically. It's wonderful. It makes me feel so wonderful when I see half, of your faces, or when I go on to our Facebook after and I see all the, Shabbat Shalom comments. It's so wonderful to feel that we're not alone. It feels lonely, but we're not actually alone. And that's a wonderful thing. If you'd like to follow along with the Kiddush, you can turn to page 55 as the cantor leads us in the Kiddush for Friday night. And rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. Beshabbat kodsho be'ahava u'vratzon inchilanu. Zikaron le'masei bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta yotanu kirashta mikol hamim b'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'beratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Stay safe, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat.